they showed kind of what we thought. I mean, they got quite a bit of speed on the field at all times. So I didn't think we played real fast, reaction-wise, to them the first time. I think there's some things that we've got to improve on, and just having some more awareness and just execution. I thought there was, there's times we executed well, but there's, against this team, you got to execute all the time.
Gus, you guys are pretty consistent in what you do from a defensive standpoint in terms of playing a lot of single high, cover three, those kind of philosophies carry on from week to week. And when you are maybe trying to mix it up against a specific team, how does that process go? Obviously, it's harder than it sounds just to switch to playing too high or switch to another.
Right. Well, I think if you'd go back and watch, you would see there's some mixture, some things that we do. So, we're trying to get to that point where, we can mix things up without losing execution of what we really are. And, that's the challenge with it. So it's the consistency part, and that's just getting a feel how we're playing, what we need in the game, how teams are trying to attack us. So I think, like, even last week we had some flexibility where we changed some things up based on what we were seeing. And our team is getting more accustomed to hearing those types of calls in the huddle.
Gus, the Raiders made a commitment to a couple of your special teams players, and specifically A.J. Cole. From a defensive standpoint, how big is it to have a weapon like that at punter?
Talk about field position. In every game when you can control field position, and there's multiple times when we've started our drive when they're in a backed up situation, and it just changes. As the field goes, as you look at the length of the field, personalities of offensive coordinators change based on where they are in the field, and when it's a backed up situation, you can hone in on things and try to steal a snap here or there, and and keep them down there and change field position. Our objective is, offenses usually like to get 2 first downs when they're in a backed up situation. For us, it's every call is designed to try to get the ball, and worst case scenario, a 3 and out, to keep that field position. So he's been tremendous in that part of it. He's definitely a weapon.
Gus, nobody's made a statement of whether he's back or not, but whenever the time comes that Trayvon's back, what does he offer, and how badly has he been missed?
Well, he's a corner that's, first of all, he's very sharp. He understands principles. He plays at a high speed. As physical traits, he's got really good length. I think that part of it, like face-on has good length. And when you have a corner that has length, they trust that they can play at the line of scrimmage more. So that part of it, he's sharp, he's on the details, and he really has a sense of confidence, and he brings that to the group.
Gus, you guys have had 10 straight games where your opponent has scored following a penalty on a drive. How do you get your guys to be aggressive but not cross that line to put you guys in a...
I did not know that stat. That would be brought up. We keep track of explosive plays and penalties within. We categorize that as an explosive play just for our, you look at, what's that stat? If it's 1 explosive play, 2 explosive play, the percentages go way up. And that's the same for us this year with penalties. And we had quite a few against Kansas City. We had them, in 3rd and long situations, jumped offside. And there's 2 4th and 1s where they went for it and got it. So we've got to be real disciplined with a team like this. He does a great job with the snap count, hard counts, and trying to manipulate that. And we just got to be on it. And, there's going to be penalties within a game. We talk about no foolish penalties, things that are under our control. We pride ourselves in get off. That's a big part of who we are in the defensive line. But we also got to be smart and understand the opponent as well.
Along the lines of the penalties, there was a roughing the passer on Max Crosby, and then a legal block on Jonathan Abram. There were momentum-changing penalties that were effort, and it seemed like guys were doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
In that case, what?
Well, it is. You look at those situations and they're teachable moments. And, looking at it, you're right. The Jonathan Abram one is kind of what we teach. It's we understand if there's a guard pulling on the perimeter and the back's behind and to go up and knife the knee and try to take him out, that's illegal. But when they're stacked behind each other, we kind of tell them to dip and rip and get their head up and try to get to the ball carrier. So, we're just going to have to look at that and see how we teach it and if we have to change a little bit. But we'll get some feedback from them them, on the call. On the Max Crosby, we try to get our arms out and not put our body weight into them, and some of those are just heat of the moment. The late hits, the ball's already thrown, you put your body weight into them, once again, those are foolish. But the heat of the moment, you can see Max try to lift his arms up, and that's what we try to do, not put all your weight on, lift the arms up. So, some of those are heat of the moment.
In those situations, a defensive player could kind of let up maybe because trying to avoid something, and that could lead to a quarterback breaking away for a gain or something. Is there a fine line there, and what is that fine line?
There is, especially on the ones that you're talking about with John Abram. I think Nate Hobbs had one earlier in the game where the players adjust a little bit. He had one where he did get down low and came up and made a play. So I think it just, it's one of those things where the players just kind of learn the rules and adjust accordingly. And, no different with the rush. You want them to be aggressive, and sometimes it's such a close call. And, the players just got to use common sense. It's that half-step rule instead of a two-step rule. And, you just got to be smart in those situations.
Coach, with Devon going to be stepping up with the injured linebackers, how pleased have you been with his transition from safety to linebacker to this point?
Really good. It's not surprising, I think, that we thought that if he got an opportunity, he would play pretty well. Kind of like Malcolm, I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago that it's not for a lack of him. It's a strong competition within the D-line and getting that opportunity. So both those guys are playing at a pretty high level. It was the poise, I think, is what we recognize with Diablo, that he got out there. It wasn't too big for him. We really like his speed. That's kind of what you're hoping for at that will linebacker spot, kind of that converted safety. That's, he's putting on some weight. He's playing more physical. We didn't know when he came in about using his hands and shedding blocks, but there's multiple examples of him doing that. I think those things you don't understand until he actually gets playing time, so we were pleased with that part.
Coach, not to pick on anyone individually necessarily, but the Chiefs have targeted Abram quite a bit, and they've had really, really good success going against him in coverage. Is this just a challenge to him to say, hey, they're going to go after you, you got to step up, or is there something that he's not been put in the right position?
No,
what is the...
I think in our style of defense, the strong safety is going to get attacked. I think it's whatever team he play. And, you have to be on it. There's a lot that's on his plate. There's a lot that he has to do for this defense, and it's a great position to play because you have so much activity around the ball a lot. So I think for him, it's just consistency. Last week he played pretty well for us, and I think, it's just stacking him up now. So, he's looking forward to it. It's going to be another great challenge for him. We're probably going to have this conversation next week and said, he was around the ball a lot again, against Kansas City, and we understand that part of it. So, he's a guy that's extremely competitive, and he'll step up to the challenge, and we expect him to play pretty well this week.
That's the last one on penalties. I don't know if you saw, but in a college game, a Pitt quarterback was running down the field, and he fakes like he's going to stop.
Yeah. I did see that.
Everyone was applauding the guy, but at the same time, you watch the defensive players. They're doing what they're supposed to lay up a little bit. And
I know there's a little bit of part of me that said, "Oh, it's on now," But I had to calm that feeling down because he did. It's boy, that's dangerous. You start doing that type of action, and it's kind of a non-written rule, right? That you protect him, he's going to make good decisions, but you just hope that doesn't, carry on and pass on because I did see that, and that's a challenge when quarterbacks do that, and you're opening up to where hey, we got to protect him, and then something like that occurs. So, I guess, in a big game, in a big opportunity like that, he did what he had to do, but you just hope it doesn't carry on through and pass on to our level.
How do you kind of assess the Chiefs offensively? Obviously, you guys saw the best version of them that there has been, but there has been some struggle. Even though they've moved the ball consistently, they haven't put up the kind of same, gaudy numbers.
Right. Very explosive, right? The running game, it's kind of hidden. They average 115 yards, and if you don't pay attention to it, they can get 200 on you in a real hurry. And so you respect that part of their game, and they can get some big plays off it. The speed is something that you got to be aware of, and obviously guys like Kelsey and Tyreek, you have to have great awareness where they are in the field. The one thing that you see is that the ability to get the ball out quick. Where maybe a year ago it was longer, extended plays, let's take shots, where I think they're executing very well right now. They're very, very efficient. And then on top of it, they're picking and choosing their times to take the big shots and the plays. So, they're very well-rounded, they're executing very high, and you can see that it's almost like, let's go back, let's really execute well, and then slowly let's add these shots in and these plays, and you're seeing each game that they're adding more and more big plays off of it. So they're operating pretty well right now. At any time, as we felt, right, they're averaging maybe a little bit less than they did last year, but they have the ability with big plays to get to that 40 mark in a hurry. And, I think that they're playing with a lot of confidence now. I think as we see them now compared to maybe the first time, it's like they're trying to figure it out, but it's like they're figuring it out real quick now.
More to Sean than Walt. Gus, speaking of Kelsey in particular, I know he tends to have a good game more often than not, but it seems like teams this year have had some success when it comes to being really physical with him at the line of scrimmage. Is that something that you've noticed? Or?
Well, we were trying to, we had a play the first game where we were on him at the line of scrimmage. He's just a very, very talented player, and he's going to win his share. And, we just, as far as awareness and where he's at on the field, and, they're going to get the ball in the playmaker's hands. So, you got to have great awareness where he's at. And those times when you do play man and, you try to get aggressive with them, or there's times you play off, you give them different looks so they can't peg you for one look or the other. And those times that you're up there and pressing, you got to hope that the rush gets there. Because he is that type of player. I think he does a great job with his hands. He does a great job with his body and movement. He uses your momentum against you. We used to say that with Tony Gonzalez. He'll catch the ball and use your momentum against him and turn, and it's not going to run out of the sideline. He's just a very, very savvy player we got a great deal of respect for.
Gus, what have you seen out of your new practice squad linebacker, Will Compton? Only been 2 practices, but what does he bring?
Yeah, well, sharp, right? And that's what they told us. Can pick things up really quick. He's got a really strong leadership presence about him. So it has been only a couple days. Not saying that you're going to see him out there the first snap as our Mike linebacker, but it's you hope that you get in a guy that can pick things up quickly. And there's always that chance he could play, with injuries. And, he's done a masterful job at that, to pick things up. He's been in a number of systems, so, that part of it he can process real quick. But he's going to have to do it on limited reps. He's going to have to be a guy that can stand on the sideline, pick it up mentally, and then his number could be called.
All right, guys, thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Will. How we doing? How we doing?
Questions for Greg Olson, offensive coordinator of Las Vegas Raiders.
Greg, it seems like you guys have been at your best when you're pushing the ball downfield this year. How have you seen defenses adjust to that, and what are there ways where even if a team is just trying to prevent that you can still sort of try to push in that area?
Yeah, I think there's been a variety of reasons for it, and whether it be a breakdown or, as you saw last week, Derek couldn't find a nickel safety. There just have been different reasons for it, but we'll still create ways to get it down the field, and that's involved in everybody. So just more about the execution of it and the game planning of it. But our mindset is always to push the ball down the field. That's kind of been our mindset.
And have you noticed that from teams? Does it just seem like they're keying in on that more to say, they've seen?
It's hard to say. Obviously, when before I think it's real easy to point out, well, since Henry Ruggs, well, that's true, but we're real happy with Deshaun Jackson. We're happy with the other wideouts, Zay Jones. You can see he can stretch the field. So just do again, a point of emphasis as it is every game. And you know that some teams will take it away, but we're still going to call those shots. And if the shot is not there, then the ball gets checked down. So, but we're still designing different ways to do that.
Coach, with Kenyon Drake going down, how much emphasis does that now put on guys like a Jalen Richard or a Trey Davis to come in and really step up in that spot?
Yeah, big time, really. And as you know, Jalen didn't practice today, but he's with us on the Zoom meetings. But and Jalen's been in and out on the entire season. So, but we always say when one man goes down, someone else has to step up. And as we saw Regas in the preseason, we were high on him as a rookie, and may have an opportunity this week as well. So for any position, really, when someone goes down, it's always that next man up mentality.
The Chiefs have only been giving up about 10 points a game in the last 4 weeks. What are you seeing on tape from them in the last 4 weeks that's different than what you saw maybe at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, good question, because early on in the season, they weren't, on paper they weren't playing well, and now you see statistically in almost every category they're playing well. I think it's it's a group that's played together for a long time. I mean, we're seeing a lot of familiar faces, them being a division rival. So we knew that, whether they would say they simplified things, or you're just not seeing maybe the bust that you were seeing earlier on tape, and you're just seeing players making plays. They got a lot of great players that have played together. And I think that, again, continuity for those guys has been a big plus for them. But playing together in the season, as it goes on, I just think that more continuity, got a chance to be a little bit more cohesive as a unit, and they're playing better.
Greg, I know you have a lot of playmakers on your roster, but when you've got checkdowns on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7 that are behind the line of scrimmage, do you have to rethink that?
I think, always. And some of those are not, we would never have a check down behind the line of scrimmage. At times there are checks, blitz checks, where it ends up being a behind the line of scrimmage call. So we're looking at, obviously, at those checks and making sure that we're having an opportunity to get a first down. But a lot of that becomes down to execution as well. So, again, that would be, that's never our thought process, really, unless you're running a screen on a 3rd and long. But we're trying to push the ball to the chains, and if not, then the ball gets checked down. But the ones behind line of scrimmage, maybe a blitz check or some other play call.
Have you been able to do some self-scouting in terms of 3rd downs and maybe what the issues have been the last couple of weeks? Have obviously not been as good as early in the season.
Yeah, like I said, there's been a number of issues, whether it be, it might be a protection breakdown, it might be a misread, it may be maybe the design of the play. So there's a number of different issues that we always we look at every week, on a continual basis, and obviously that's an area that we don't feel good about, nor the red zone right now. So those are constant emphasis from within the staff and on those days that we work on those situations.
After the game, Josh said, I think in the second half he saw one of or some of the biggest holes he's seen all season. And you guys have run the ball a little bit better in the last 2 weeks. Have you seen a change up front? Did that come across on film?
Like I said, we kind of felt going in that bye week, but had solved some issues, and some other things came back and crept up on us. So it's a constant weekly for us. Offensively, much like the other areas, emphasis of running the football, and how can we run the football? What's the plan this week to run the football and to get ourselves into those areas where we can now be better in our play action game. So there's been some good, some bad, and again, it's just trying to get better every day with it.
There were a few times on Sunday where you brought in a 3rd tackle. Is that sort of the domino effect of the Waller injury and how it affects the blocking scheme?
Yeah. We're down on, as you know, we lost, obviously we lost Darren last week, and we lost Derek early on the season when we had our 13 package. We felt pretty good about it, and we lost Nick Bowers as well. So we were down a little bit on tight end. So we've used that tackle as that 3rd tight end or 2nd tight end in some situations.
Can he catch the ball?
They may. I tell you, he might be able to.
Hey Greg, how How important is it offensively to get off to a quick start?
It always is. I think when you look at, again, and there's a lot of different ways you look at statistics, but the turnover ratio is big, but starting fast is also big when you look at around the league or just in the National Football League. The team that scores first has a higher percentage of winning a football game, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown. So that's always been an emphasis for us offensively, is the importance of starting fast. And again, I think when we first came back, we scored the 2 touchdowns in weeks, 5 and 6 or 6 and 7. And the next week we go and we throw an interception down in tight. But it's something we talk about all the time, and you'll hear Rich talk about it as well. It's, start fast and finish faster. So it's something we always look at.
How frustrating is that then as the play caller when, you had the fast start against Dallas, but in every other game since the bye at least, it seems like it's kind of trudged. And then, as Hunter said, when you need it at the end, you guys go out there and get it, and there's a sense of urgency.
Yeah, and I think Foster mentioned it too early on in the season. We had talked about falling behind, and we've always thought, well, we'll finish, but yeah, let's work on the front end of it. And, starting fast is a big part of it. So, and there's things that go into that, but we've got to do that.
All right, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, guys.
Well, along those lines, this team's lost, 4 of their last 5 games, and you're going into a part of the season where, winning is what it's all about this time of year. You're a leader on this team and a veteran. You've kind of seen it all. What's the message in that locker room as you guys try to navigate your way through this?
Yeah, the message is it's all about our mindset. We know that this last stretch we can make it happen. This last stretch, but it's all about our mindset. It's all about our energy as we go into the day. Focus on the details, focus on our execution, and just not letting our record define how we go and prepare, you know what I'm saying? And so we can go any way we want to. That's the beauty of this. We can go any way we want to, and I believe that the message that was spread amongst the guys is that we can do this. I believe, we got a chance to get it done.
It's a young team in a lot of ways. Is that what you're talking about? Is that something that's innate, something that can be learned, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, you gotta. To have, we got guys in this building that's won, and so it gotta be taught like guys. Like, don't let this record define how we move forward. And so we're not where we want to be. I believe everybody knows that, but we can get to where we want to go. And so it's all about your mindset. It's all about how you go into your day, how you practice, and then you go magically see how that transfers onto Sunday, and we just take it from there every week.
Hey, Jess, since you signed, how did you see Devon Diablo as somebody, or a rookie coming in, not just making that adjustment, but also switching positions as a guy who played DB and
Yeah.
How have you seen him grow and develop it up to that point last week?
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't even know Devon played safety. I just found out like a few weeks ago. But to see him come in and play linebacker, it's pretty cool. He understands all his run fits. He's somebody that tackles well. Obviously, can cover, and so it's pretty cool to see how he stepped in Sunday and just handled business. We was out there together. He was handling business, making his plays, making his tackles, and you go see him. He getting his career started on defense, and it's pretty cool to see him has that success in that first game.
He's been a big fan of yours his whole life growing up, watching you play, watching your career.
Who?
Divine.
He said that? Okay.
And you have really taught him a lot. And will you talk about the fact that he listens? A lot of young guys don't.
Yeah.
Could you talk about that, please?
Yeah, me and Diablo, we watch film every Tuesday on our days off, and he comes in. He's always asking questions, and I played the linebacker position all my life, and for him to buy in, to listen to me, it's only gonna benefit him. And so we talked about tackling and how linebackers tackle, and it's cool to see him have that success. And he's just getting started. He still has a lot to learn, but just take it one game at a time, one play at a time. Told him just stay calm when you're out there and just trust yourself.
It seemed like yesterday you had a really impassioned message to the team right before the media viewing, the practice and huddle. How do you feel the words that you said really translated to the rest of the team?
It's funny. A few guys came up to me and said, "KJ, thank you for that." It was like, we needed that, thank you. And it was on my heart. Sometimes God just puts stuff on my heart, and like, I gotta say something. Because first Derek was gonna say something. I said, Derek, no. And then let me talk to these guys, and just to share what I felt, and the message that the team needed to hear, and it resonated with me. I just told guys, the energy needs to increase. We're in this home stretch. The details got to increase because we can do that. We just got to believe we can, and. The practice was beautiful yesterday. I don't know if y'all watched it, but it was awesome practice. And today was also good. And so just keep building that mindset as we go into this last stretch of the season.
When you talk about a team needing to hear a message, I mean, is there a level of exhaustion? I know, like, from the outside, you look at this year. It's been a long year, obviously, through a lot of different things you guys have gone through. Is there a level of that kind of going on?
If you're tired, go home. That's my mentality. Like this is no game. There's no room to get tired. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna be the team that's home the first week in January. You know, those days need to be over with. And I went around, told all the guys that we're not going home the first week in January. Let's get our minds right. And, you know, let's get ready for this playoff run. And so there's no room in this game to be tired. If you want to be tired, then just go home.
Gus was just in here and said that he felt the first time against the Chiefs, you guys didn't play fast enough. You didn't really match their speed. What do you remember about that? Do you remember that? And how do you fix that going into the second game?
Yeah, watching the film, you see they was, it wasn't up to our standard for them to put up, I believe, 40 points on us. It was really bad, obviously. And so we know what we're capable of, and that definitely shouldn't happen again. They were a step faster, so we all watched the film. We saw how they attacked us, and we know that we got to play way better this go-round if we want to have a chance to win this game.
You know, one quality back? KJ, all those years in Seattle, pretty consistent through there. Then you come here, and like Adam mentioned earlier, lots of ups and downs. I mean, mentally, I know you say if you're tired, go home, but how strange has this been just for you when you're used to the consistency and then all the ups and downs and things that have changed here since you arrived?
You know, I believe I'm here for a reason. I'm definitely here for a reason. Everybody kept telling me that, like you're in the Raiders for a reason, and I'm starting to see why. And I have a lot of wisdom and expertise that I could just share with my guys. And I'm thankful that I'm here to be in this position because it's time for me to show how well I am as a leader, how my message can go across. And then when I step on the field, just playing really good football. And so I'm thankful we're in this position and we go just show ourselves, how well we can finish this season.
Towards the beginning of the season, the run defense was kind of one of the Achilles heels of the team, but kind of over the past couple of weeks, the run defense has increasingly gotten a little better. You as run stopping linebackers, what is the things that you really preach to your guys to really step up in that regard?
And even with that, I think we can be even better. You know what I mean? I believe we can be better against the run defense. But that's where it all starts. It starts up front. It starts up front with shutting down those running backs. When you tackle these guys, like they stop and they go the opposite direction. And so just keep preaching that. We know the Chiefs, they'll run it too. So just knock that out early. Try to make these guys one-dimensional. But really good defenses are really good against the run.
Last one, Adam.
You guys are going into Arrowhead, obviously known as a loud place, a tough place to play. You were in Seattle for a long time, kind of the same reputation.
Yeah.
I guess what makes a road venue tough to go into? What are kind of the trademarks of that? And also, how do you prepare for it? What does it do to you?
Yeah, the road games, those are always the most fun. Just going to somebody else's house, just getting booed and getting the middle finger stuck up at you when you're riding on the bus. That's what you remember going on the road. And so just the mindset is just, it's all us. It's all about us. We all we got. It's going to be a few, black jerseys in the stands, but for the most part, we all we got. And so for us to go in there on the road, tough environment, divisional opponent, that's what you play the game for. And then in December, that's what you play the game for. And so it's always fun, and can't wait to get out there.
All right. Thanks, KJ.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Not too tough, right?
Daniel, congratulations, both of you guys, congratulations. Daniel, your career had a kind of a turbulent start to it. This is the highlight of your career, I'm sure, this professional career. But it didn't start off this way. And how much of what happened has maybe been the fuel that's gotten you to this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely, anytime you go through some adversity, you can kind of choose how to respond from that. And, I didn't know at that time when I was cut and, sitting on a couch at home with my wife and figuring out what the NFL had for me, what my future had for me, and kind of I didn't know what I'd be sitting here today, with this organization and signing a deal today for another 4 years. So I mean, it's been a wild journey, and very fortunate to have been on it with great people along the way, and great coaches, great organization. So just very fortunate that God's allowed me to be in this situation in this moment here today. So very thankful for the ups and downs for sure.
Was there ever any time where you lost sight of what still could be possible?
I mean, I always believed in my abilities and what I might be able to do. But I mean, I didn't have all the answers, for sure. When I was jobless, I was like, I don't know when my next chance is going to be, or, if there would be a next chance necessarily. That was my rookie season after a second game in the NFL, so I didn't know a lot, that I've kind of learned now. So there were definitely a lot of questions going through my head, but, a lot of prayer and a lot of, just hard work. And, we've been able to get to where we are today. So I'm very fortunate for that.
For both of you, Morton Anderson once told me that for a special teams guy, your long snapper's a security blanket. How important was it for you guys thinking about this year getting Trent back today?
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, extremely important. I mean, every single play we're out there, Trent starts. And so we have so much trust and confidence in him. And, it's just good to get back in rhythm. I think Carson Tinker did a great job stepping in for us. Shout out him for just stepping up to the plate when he was called on. But we're really excited to have Trent back. We've been working together for 3 years, been through some highs, been through some lows. And so we just have so much confidence in each other when we go out there on fourth down or whatever the situation is. It felt good today to be back, back in our normal rhythm. And we just have so many reps logged. It's great.
For both of you, what does it mean to each of you that this organization believes so strongly in the talents that you have to offer?
Yeah, I mean, I think it means a lot to, that they've kind of respected the work we've put in the last few years, and, the results we've put on, the board and stuff with our play from Oakland to here in Las Vegas now. And, I think it's exciting we're both young 26-year-olds and, excited to see what the next 4 years are going to hold for us and for this organization, and where we can take it into the future.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the Raiders just have such a rich history at the specialist position. So punting and kicking here, I just think means a little bit more than just about anywhere else. It definitely means a lot that they've invested in us and believe in us and are thankful for the work we're done and will continue to do. So we're just excited to be here and hopefully stick around for a long, long time.
AJ, your journey, basically kind of a tryout camp here with the Raiders. What kind of message is that maybe some young kickers, young players, young athletes can follow, something like that?
Yeah, it's so funny. I was just thinking when you were asking the question to Daniel, there was definitely some times when it was really dark for me when I just wasn't getting the opportunities that I wanted, or, I really just had to, ask myself, am I good enough? Is this worth it to keep pushing? Is it worth it to keep going on? And just so thankful to be here. And, there was definitely some times when I didn't think I was good enough, where I was like, I really felt like hanging it up. I was just talking earlier, when I came to that tryout in 2019, I had a job lined up with IBM. That's how little confidence I kind of had in the process. And not just that I didn't believe in myself, but just it's so hard to make it. There's 32 of these jobs in the world, and there's so many talented guys out there. So I just think in order to make it in this business, you have to be good and really lucky. And I've been both of those things, so just so blessed and just thankful for everything I've been through.
Was there anyone that kind of talked you out of, hey, hold off on IBM and give this another chance, or hang in there, the call is going to come?
I think throughout the process, my dad's been a great sounding board for me. He's just been the person I go to when things are going good, when things are going bad. And but just, in that time, that's really the only person that, one of the only people I had to go to, and my mom and my girlfriend, and they both have been just incredible throughout this process. So, there's just a lot of different people. And then once I got here, obviously I had these guys to lean on, and we talk about everything together. And when I'm down, they lift me up. When they're down, I lift them up. And, we kind of, rising tide raises all ships.
You guys, two-parter question. Number one, in each of your contracts, is there anything in there that keeps you from having the street fight against each other? And number two, what is number two? Oh yeah, it is a big deal that you guys are re-upped, but it's a unique situation because of where the organization is right now. There's no guarantee that the GM will be back, no guarantee the head coach will be back, but the organization invested in both of you. How unique is that? And then also the fight question.
Yeah, I should have written something in, and my agent, maybe I need to call him and ask him to write something in next contract about us, getting a fight going or something, so I can win a little more money, but,
I'll answer that first question. The fight is still happening, but the tickets just got a little more expensive.
And then about the organization investing in you guys when there's so much uncertainty going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely tough, and it's something we kind of talked about, and but this organization has taken a chance on both of us in different ways. Me from being cut and out of a job to bringing me for a workout and signing me, and kind of running with me now the last 3 years, and him from a rookie minicamp invite, and so the organization has always given us a lot of faith, and put a lot of faith and trust in us throughout the years, and I think this is really cool to be able to commit back to them and come to agreement that, hey, we're going to give you the next 4 years of our play and hopefully more, and just try and go chase after Super Bowls and playoffs and championships, and just do the best of our ability as we get older each year, and like I said, hopefully a lot longer as well. I mean, like AJ mentioned, Raiders have such a rich tradition of specialists. You had Sebastian Janikowski and Leckler, and Kondo and Snapper, and so guys that played for a long, long time for this organization. So we've always kind of joked about being the next trio to do that, and so I think this is a step in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And then I'll say, the one thing that's certain about football is uncertainty. And you never know what's going to happen anywhere, any situation. But I think I can speak for myself and for Daniel as well. We believe in the players here. We believe in the coaches here. We believe in the front office. And we believe we're headed in the right direction and get to the goal where we eventually want to be. So we're excited. And, that pretty much answers it, I think.
Going back to the fighting, how would Daniel would he have been able to hold up his own versus the baboon?
Versus the baboon? I don't know. That's a great question. I think he might have been okay. I think that if we're both in the van at the same time, I think Daniel probably steps behind me and lets me take care of the baboon.
Don't know about that. I'm just surprised PETA hasn't come after him yet or something.
Trying to keep it on the low. It was self-defense.
Yeah.
If you had to pick a teammate to go versus here, you versus a pack of baboons, who would be that teammate that?
Who would I take with me from the team? Well, that's an excellent question. I think I would probably take Trent first of all, because I know for a fact he would die for me. But there's so many good answers. Maybe Alec. I would take Alec. 100% healthy Alec.
Adrian, I don't know if it's like a no-hitter, you can't talk about it, but you are kind of chasing a record this year. I mean, how much have you thought about it or paid attention to where your average is and that sort of thing?
No, it's like a no-hitter. You can't talk about it. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's not something that that's not really a goal of mine, really. I don't really look at the gross so much. I'm more worried with the net. And really, at the end of the day, my job every time when I go out there is start the defense as close to the goal line as possible. So that's my number one priority. My number one priority is putting the defense in the best position to go out there and win games. So if we punt from the 40-yard line for the rest of the season, that's what it's going to be. I'm not out there chasing that because that's not my ultimate goal. And so, I mean, it's really, I don't really think it's too much big of a deal.
Just out of curiosity, Janikowski and Shane Leckler, those are two guys that were really legendary here. They spent a lot of time with each other. So out of curiosity, if either of you have a conversation with them just about their chemistry and just kind of like how's that helped you?
Yeah, we've interacted a couple times with them, and especially in Oakland. Obviously, COVID's made it a little harder for us to interact with alumni and stuff. But just talked about it, and obviously grew up watching their careers and them flourish here. And so it's really cool to kind of be following in their footsteps somewhat and stuff, and trying to carry on that Raiders legacy that has been here for so many years for long-time specialists.
Yeah, like you said, with COVID and stuff, there haven't been as many opportunities to do that. I interacted with them a little bit in 2019 in Oakland, but there's still a lot of people there's still some people that are in this building that were with them in Oakland, and the one thing that all of those people talk about, because I always ask them, what was Seabass and Leckler like, and they just continue to repeat that they had a really close relationship on and off the field, and they felt like that contributed to both of their successes, and so that's something that we believe as well.
AJ, Pat McAfee signed a 4-year, $120 million deal today with FanDuel. He only made $15 million as a punter in his NFL career. Is that getting the post NFL career vibes going for you to maybe go into that realm afterwards? Now you're seeing that he's making that much money doing that.
FanDuel, if you are watching this, when my football career is over with, I am interested in being paid $120 million to do whatever it is you need.
That's a good answer.
Alright,
Awesome.
thanks guys.
Thank y'all.
So we got one time.